Okay, well, welcome back, man. Welcome back for some more. I knew you was gonna be back. You know what you was coming back for? Coming back for some more. All right, let's get to it. Today's lesson, polynomials. Okay, this is actually starting a new unit for us. So it's gonna be a little introduction with a little bit of vocabulary, some of the things to look for throughout this whole unit of polynomials. Yeah, so now polynomials can look like this. What you see is a polynomial expression because there's no equal sign, right? But you can also see it like this. Yeah, and what you see here is a polynomial equation because, yeah, you got the equal sign, right? Y equals, or remember, it could also be f of x equals. So polynomial expressions and polynomial equations all follow the same rules. Now notice there's a group here. There's a grouping of what we call, these are called terms. So each individual grouping, notice I have a coefficient, a variable, an exponent. This is all one grouping, and all of these groupings are separated by these addition and or subtraction signs. Yeah, notice now this last term, this -7, it doesn't necessarily have a variable attached to it, but it's still a term. So polynomials are named by the number of terms in each. Now this one has 3 terms, so it's called a trinomial, exactly right. Now, what if I cut one of these off and made it 2 terms? Yeah, 2 terms is called a binomial, and then finally, monomial, exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, so now that we talked about the naming of our polynomial, is everything a polynomial? No. I can write a bunch of stuff up here that doesn't necessarily make it a polynomial. There are certain rules. Let's talk about those rules. Okay, good. So here we are with what we think might be a polynomial expression. Let's talk about the rules of being a polynomial. Okay, so all of the rules basically come from this one right here. Every exponent that you see on a variable has to be a whole number and it has to be a positive number. Now let's check that for what we have right here. So I have a 2. What's the exponent on that y? Yeah, all of those variables without exponents, they have an exponent. It's just a 1. Remember, it's invisible. Yeah, for the exponent unit. Yeah. And so this 7 at the end, it doesn't have a variable, but that's okay. If I wanted to put an x to the 0 power, yeah, that would cancel out, make 1 and leave the 7. So numbers alone without variables are still terms. This is still a polynomial. Yeah. So whole numbers. So what if I had a fraction exponent? Now remember from our exponent unit what a fractional exponent is, right? It's like sort of a square root. So these two things mean exactly the same thing. If you see this, this is an expression, not a polynomial expression. Our exponents have to be whole numbers, not fractions, not square roots. So yeah, exactly right. No fraction exponents, no square roots. This, not a poly. What about this? Now, I added a variable to that last term, but notice the exponent on that variable. Remember the rule was they gotta be whole, so no fractions, I don't have any fractions, but I got a negative number. Remember they had to be whole and positive. Remember what negative exponents are? Yeah. Negative exponents are actually denominators. Yeah, so no, not allowed. Any variable in my expression, if it's a polynomial, any variable in my expression has to be in the numerator. No variables in the denominator. Okay, good. Yes, so now that we talked about the rules of being a polynomial, let's talk about a couple of vocabulary words specifically for polynomials.